My friends, I have nothing against the elderly. I don't hold a person's age against them. Unless he's trying to do something really important that he simply cannot do. Unless there are lives at stake, then I want to know what's going on. My name's Howard Riell, and this is Real Truth. Look, I'll be turning 61 on July 1st. God help me. So I'm no spring chicken, but Joe Biden has got to be kidding himself and the rest of us if he really thinks he's going to be president or could be president. Item from Grabian.com. At 76, Joe Biden is one of the oldest people to ever mount a presidential campaign. And in his first speech as a presidential candidate Monday, it showed. The Pennsylvania native and former vice president, who just announced his third attempt at a run for the White House, repeatedly stumbled and slurred his way through his brief 27-minute remarks in Pittsburgh on Monday. His almost every sentence was peppered with verbal stumbles. He opened with, quote, "I want to thank Rich Fitzgerald, the county executive for the the Allegheny County executive, for being here," unquote. Then he said, quote, "The country wasn't built by Wall Street bankers, CEOs, and the hedge fund managers." He stammered during what was supposed to be a headline moment. At various points, he stumbled over words like dignity, successful, and hospitals. Occasionally, words are entirely indecipherable. Quote, "Union workers, the UAW took incredible cuts in their pension and their future and the less to get GM working," Biden said, unquote. My friends, he's 76 years old today. The election will be in November 2020, so he'll be 77. Right? By the time he's sworn in, he'll be on his way to 80. Now, keep in mind, Joe Biden was never very bright to begin with. He's a career politician. He's been a hack for 4 decades or more. He did not distinguish himself in the slightest as vice president to Barack Obama. He's run for president twice. America has given him a thumbs down twice. The only reason he looks good to Democrats now is because the rest of the candidates are all nitwits and pinheads. They're clowns who are not to be taken seriously. Biden is exactly the disease that American voters were running away from in the last election. They voted for an outsider, Donald Trump, because they were sick to death of career hack politicians, and that's what it says on Joe Biden's resume. So if this guy is the front runner of the Democrats, just imagine how pathetic the rest of them are. Everybody in the world was licking their lips over the chance of a Beto O'Rourke presidency. Anybody hearing from Beto O'Rourke anymore? He held a campaign rally a few days ago, got 35 people. No, not 35,000 like Donald Trump got in 2016. He got 35 luckless souls who had nothing better to do than come in and chew on last week's salad. Beto shot to prominence like a rocket and just as quickly fizzled and fell into the ocean. So will Mayor Pete Butt-I-Gag. And so will Joe Biden. None of these people have what it takes to be president, not even close. And even if you had a high-quality person on the Democrat side, by virtue of them being Democrats, it means they support policies that simply do not work, cannot work, can only cause damage to the United States. So forget about Joe Biden. He's not going to be in there for the long run. Forget about Pete Butt-I-Gag. And forget about the other dwarves who are running for president, for the presidential nomination on the Democrat side. They've got nothing to offer America, nothing America wants or needs. In the meantime, let's all giggle at Joe Biden. Item from The Federalist. Harris Funeral Home's priority is to aid families in overcoming grief by remembering their loved ones. To that end, its policies emphasize professionalism for employee dress and appearance. Consistent with the EEOC's own manual, the company requires female employees to wear skirt suits and male employees to wear pantsuits and ties. In 2012, Harris Funeral Homes decided to part ways with an employee. That employee, a male who'd been issued the male funeral director uniform and consistently worn it to that point, announced his intent to begin dressing and presenting as a woman while interacting with grieving families. That would violate the company's dress policy, and Harris Funeral Homes decided the employee's proposal would not be in the best interest of the grieving families it serves. In response, the EEOC sued the Detroit business, claiming it had discriminated on the basis of sex. For this, the EEOC seeks punitive damages. On April 22, 2019, the U.S. Supreme Court agreed to hear Harris Funeral Home's case. That case will decide whether federal agencies can rewrite federal law. Unquote. My friends, I'm not an attorney, but it seems to me that this case is not even close to being sexual discrimination because they're not discriminating because of this nut job over his sex. They're not discriminating against him because he's a man or a woman. They're discriminating against him because he's bizarre. He wants to dress like a woman. He's got screws loose. And the last thing grieving people need when they go to a funeral home is to be faced with some psychologically damaged, bizarre individual. I don't put myself in the place of the Supreme Court, but I don't see how they could possibly rule on behalf of the whack job who's dressed in pantyhose. By the way, for all the people rushing to the defense of people like this, why aren't they rushing to get these people the therapy they so badly need, the psychiatric help they deserve? That would be true compassion. Patting them on the back and saying, "That a boy, that a girl, that forget about it." But men who want to wear women's clothes, they need lots of therapy. And I don't see anyone in America saying that except yours truly. Let's take a break. Let's come back. Let's go through all the stuff you absolutely have got to hear. This is Real Truth.
Are you staring out the window daydreaming about spring, your lush green yard of backyard barbecues? Well, don't blink. Before you know it, you'll be knee-high in grass. Don't let the ache away from that door. Don't be that guy. Call Turf Taylor Landscaping at 970-460-TURF or visit our website at turftaylorlandscaping.com. We will pay for your yard to tip-top shape. Specializing in maintenance and install of commercial and residential properties. We pride ourselves in our clean cut, consistently and quickly detailed property. Visit our website at turftaylorlandscaping.com. Our install crew can transform your backyard into the outdoor space always proven. Call me, Brian, at 970-460-TURF for a free walkthrough and estimate so we can meet and discuss the best options for your landscaping needs. Family owned and locally operated. We've been serving Northern Colorado for over 18 years. Thank you for your support.
Before hiring a realtor from a big corporation who outsources their jobs and pays little to no taxes, ask yourself, what do you really want from a realtor? You need a realtor who is honest, has integrity, a realtor who is focused on the client's bottom line, not the realtor's bottom line, who provides personal, over-the-top service before, during, and after the transaction. You want a realtor that knows how to market your property. Hi, I'm James Morgan, a realtor with Grisham & Associates, LLC. I am your Colorado real estate specialist. Land deals, mountain cabins, or urban dwellings, I've got you covered. For the first-time home buyer, we will make it the best experience. If you are looking to move up or downsizing, we will do better than your last transaction. Call me today at 720-203-0731 or visit coloradoproperties.online. Let me do a great job for you.
All right, guys, welcome back to Real Truth. I am Howard Riell, fully in command here, fully in control, just like Al Haig. Remember him? You're not old enough to remember him, but I am. Look him up on YouTube. Al Haig, I'm in control here in the White House. That was basically the end of Al Haig's ambition. Anyway, Alan Dershowitz was on Fox Business yesterday, I think, or the day before. And he said something very, very smart, not surprising since he's a smart guy. He says he's more worried about Bernie Sanders' supporters than he is about Bernie Sanders. Interesting. Let's listen in and find out what he meant by that.
Speaking of the primary process, my next guest says America is not a pure democracy. He points out that the notion of one man, one vote was never accepted by the founding fathers. Renowned civil rights lawyer, Harvard law professor, and author, Alan Dershowitz is with me now. Alan, it is great to see you. Thanks for coming in.
My pleasure.
So is the primary process fair? My guess is no, that's not the way it's supposed to be, but I want to hear from you.
Well, it's fair in the sense the rules were established in advance. Everybody knew what the rules were when they decided to run for president. Is it the best system? No, it's not the best system. First of all, you win overwhelmingly in a state which is not going to go for you in the general election, and you get a lot of delegates. That makes no sense at all. Second, the smaller states, the least influential, often go first, and so knock candidates out of the race.
Yeah, New York is all excited. Normally this is kind of buttoned up by this.
It's usually over by this point. But, you know, the framers did not intend a democracy. They were frightened of democracy. It's a republic if you can keep it, said one of the founders. And the Electoral College, you know, people forget, 2000, a guy named Gore won the presidency of the United States by having more votes than a guy named Bush. But Bush became president because of the Electoral College. And so, yes, why should we be surprised that we have something less than a pure democracy in the way we nominate people?
Well, let me ask you, though, as a legal expert, for example, the Trump campaign says that the Cruz campaign is following the letter of the law, not the spirit of the law, and therefore the system is rigged. From an logical argument standpoint, what would you say?
Now, this is, folks, I'm playing this in answer to the people who want to get rid of the Electoral College. If we got rid of the Electoral College, imagine what would happen. You've got liberal New York on the right. You've got liberal California on the left. Those two states, basically, not completely, but basically, would decide who gets to be president. And the rest of the states, the smaller states, the states in the middle of the country, they wouldn't matter at all. And that's why we need the Electoral College. And that's why I played this clip. I've heard people on TV saying they want to get rid of it. You'd think we'd be smarter by now, but then again, I hear people saying they want socialism. So much for being smarter. Let's jump to Anthony Scaramucci talking about what else? Donald Trump and how he's being treated by the press. It's going to start with Howie, not Howie Riell. Here we go, Fox News.
President Trump started out by praising Fox and Friends as the best and most highly rated
Howie Kurtz
show before unloading on its rivals. At MSNBC, he tweeted, "Morning Psycho Joe, who helped get me elected in 2016 by having me on free all the time, has nosedived. Too angry, dumb, and sick. A really bad show with low ratings." Joe Scarborough seemed to revel in the free publicity.
He called me dumb and sick. Well, talked really about our poor ratings, and I think this is like the second or third year in a row that we've had record ratings. They just keep going up more and more. And we thank the president for drawing everybody's attention to it.
As for CNN, Trump said the network was a ratings disaster, and it rewarded Chris Cuomo with a now unsuccessful primetime slot, despite his massive failure in the morning, only on CNN. Cuomo used his third-place ratings to make a point.
The struggle is real. We see the need to grow and do even better, and we bust our bottoms to do just that. I argue that the president should consider his own criticism. Why? He is mired in the mud of minority approval.
Joining us now from Los Angeles, Anthony Scaramucci, the former White House communications chief and an informal Trump advisor. Welcome, and this question. What does the president gain by beating up on Morning Psycho Joe, which he claims never to watch, and other than allowing Scarborough and his team to kind of clap back and have some fun at the president's expense?
Well, I think you saw it last night. I mean, there was a vivid contrast. He's got a record-breaking crowd out in Green Bay, and then you've got a lot of people looking to fill their seats at the White House Correspondents' Dinner, and so he's in a full-blown war with the media, and I think they played into his hands in many ways, and so I think actually the president's winning that war. I mean, the Mueller report, some of the stuff inside it is actually sour, but the top-line headline is very good for the president. And most of the American people have moved on. So him tweaking the media like that, I think it drives them into further hysteria, which he plays very well to the base. You know,
Let me jump in. Let me jump in. Go ahead. You say you talked to the president. Go ahead.
No, I talked to the president on Easter Sunday, and you know his thing is he's going to move very hard on the base. And the quote from the president was, "The independents and the moderates will take care of themselves," meaning that the economy is very strong. The policies that he's put in place are working. They're very good common sense policies for the American people. And so his attitude is full bore on the base, and he'll win the re-election by galvanizing those people, plus some of the moderates and independents.
Right.
So
But when he,
the strategy does seem to be working.
let me jump in there. When he does go, when he personalizes it, warning Psycho Joe, going after Cuomo, when he calls Paul Krugman, New York Times columnist who does not like him, stupid, but the guy's a Nobel Prize winner, and when he tweets this, Anthony.
Hang on 1 second. Hang on 1 second, Howie Kurtz. Paul Krugman is a Nobel Prize winner. So is Yasser Arafat. So is Barack Obama. The Nobel Prize is worth piss these days. Everything I've seen Krugman said, every major pronouncement that's come out of his mouth, he's been wrong. So yeah, the guy's a schmuck. And he writes for the New York Times, which proves that the guy's a loser. Continue.
The New York Times will have to get down on their knees and beg for forgiveness. Beg for forgiveness. Are you suggesting that he is doing this as a political tactic because his base loves him?
I think it's a combination of things. It's kind of changes from the first 35 years. I think it was one of the steps up what happened in 2016. So I think he's doubling down on that strategy for 2020. I don't like elements of it. There's no question about that. When you're telling people names like that, that's what I think. Still a name for I don't like his policies, but I don't like it because he puts all in the way susceptibility to swaying voters. So it's 52% of the vote when you vote in 2016. He's got to get back to those levels again in 2020 to win. They don't like that kind of voter because he's just going to retaliate on that.
If women don't like bullying, well, they can stay in bed in the morning. Just go out and get their hair done and their nails. Or women can grow up and be adults. As I've said on this show many times, a lot of American women absolutely disgraced themselves in 2016. Instead of making a mature, objective choice of which candidate, which policies would be best for this country, too many of them said, I don't like the way he talks. He's not presidential. I don't like his manner. He's too gruff. Like a 4-year-old would. Ladies, wake up! Grow up! The only hope you have, and your children have, of having great lives going forward is if Donald Trump becomes president again, supported by lots and lots and lots of Republicans in the House and the Senate. If that doesn't happen, you will suffer. Your children and grandchildren will suffer. So, ladies, please be smarter next time around.
Well, but truth of the matter is, I want to see the guy win. He's had a very successful strategy in the economy is unbelievably strong right now, and it's the boom economy. It's not just put your CEOs in the stock market. The real wages go, the unemployment rate goes way down. And employment is coming in here, and that means that the president has to be very careful with spending right now. Well, you don't have an apology. I owe you an apology. We actually had an apology. I was at America, and I was
It helps Fox for the following reason, Anthony. He's not praising Fox because they like him. He's not praising Fox because they agree with him. He's praising Fox because they're doing an excellent job of journalism. They're reporting objectively. They're bringing facts. Now, 2019, as I've said before, is my 40th year as a professional journalist, so I know a little bit about journalism. The standard on Fox is high, and they do a really good job. On CNN, MSNBC, CNBC, they're sludge, they're garbage, they're fools, they're knaves. So when Trump compliments Fox, it's because they're good journalists.
In your primetime ratings, and it's obviously reflected in the morning
Absolutely wrong. The press, much of the press, most of the press has become the enemy of the people. The press is partisan. They've got their fingers on the scale. They were pushing for Obama. They didn't report a lot of the terrible things he did. They accepted his mistreatment of the press. He was very, very anti-journalist, and they said not a word. Now, if Donald Trump clears his throat, they scream, the president's going to get journalists killed. The press has a lot to apologize for. The press has made itself the adversary of the American people. It absolutely has.
You say the press is flawed, biased, self-righteous.
And the press doesn't do that. Look at the way the press was kissing Hillary Clinton's butt all the way through the election campaign. Look at the way the press kissed Barack Obama's butt for 8 years. The press isn't doing its job. It's supposed to be objective and impartial, and it's not anymore. It's not. The press, by and large, and obviously there are always exceptions, the press, by and large, the national press, the major media, is disgraceful. They're anti-American. They don't want what's good for the American people. They want what's good for their corporate masters and for their own careers. They're disgraceful. And so with all due respect to Anthony Scaramucci, no, I don't disagree with the president. I think he's right on. The press needs to get some therapy, get some introspection, and get better at what they do. They have to decide that they want to do it. And if they don't, then they are performing a disservice for this country. Let's take a commercial break and we'll be back with more Real Truth.
Traffic, bills,
Why not movie night with free movies and TV on Vudu? Watch it on Love or your favorite devices. Over 8,000 free.
Visit our website.
All right, way down the road here with the great Bill O'Reilly. You can always find us.
Whole North Spot with Northgate King. Very beginner friendly, approximately 8
realtor from a big corporation who outsources their jobs and pays little to no taxes, ask yourself, what do you really want in a realtor? You need a realtor who's honest and has integrity. A realtor who's focused on the client's bottom line, not the realtor's bottom line. Who provides personal, over-the-top service before, during, and after the transaction. You want a realtor that knows how to market your property. Hi, I'm James Morgan, a realtor with Grisham and Associates LLC. I am your Colorado real estate specialist. Land deals, mountain cabins, or urban dwellings, I've got you covered. For the first-time home buyer, we will make it the best experience. If you are looking to move up or downsizing, we will do better than your last transaction. Call me today at 720-203-0731 or visit coloradoproperties.online. Let me do a great job for you.
Grandpa's Farm and Gun. We run a gun store, pawn shop in Longmont, Colorado, and that serves the primary for manufacturers. Currently, we have guns for sale at 4,200 square foot total. Grandpa's Farm and Gun, according to alcohol tobacco firearms, is one of the state's highest volume gun dealers. We are also the 50th pawn shop in Colorado, and we offer the lowest interest rates on alcohol in North Colorado. Seriously, why would you find an option anywhere else? We've sold over 45,000 units since 1999. So if you are into those goals in the district or illegal auctionation fees, we'll take good care of you. People you can trust and a pawn shop you can trust. That's Grandpa's Pawn and Gun, 303-772-7952. That's 303-772-7952.
Higher rates, lower rates, negative rates, bail-in, bail-outs, and so much more. You know why you need to hold this silver. At the Patriot Trading Group, we're a different kind of company. We have no commission salespeople, no Formula Brew sales calls, no high-priced spokesmen. We believe in treating you with honesty and respect and delivering you the best product at the best price. Buying or selling, call us at 800-951-0592 or go to our website at allamericangold.com.
And since we're talking about the media, let's continue talking about the media. I'm not referring to the written medium, where you can find my book, Real Truth, Stay Angry. Find it online at barnesandnoble.com, virtualbookworm.com, amazon.com. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the major media. The far left does everything it can to damage Donald Trump, and that is not what the Founding Fathers had in mind. By the way, according to this next video, Bill O'Reilly talking to Wayne Allen Root, they also don't want Joe Biden. This comes from Newsmax TV.
All right, Wayne Allen Root here with the great Bill O'Reilly. You can always find his wisdom at
Why is the left blaming Donald Trump? Well, what the hell else can they do? Can they go to Americans and say, we want to raise your taxes? No. Can they go to Americans and say, we want to drop the border, get rid of ICE so you'll have more illegal criminals washing across the country? No. Can they say we want sanctuary cities so that criminals will be protected from law enforcement? No. Can they say we want to kill babies a minute before they're born or even after they're born? No. They can't go out and boast about these things. They're ridiculous. They're crazy. They're insane. They're dangerous. And so what else can they say? Trump's a Nazi. That's why they're saying it.
So whatever
happens in the country is going to be blamed on him. So they say, well, Donald Trump's anti-Semitic. Now, if you know anything, he has been very supportive of Israel, moved the capital from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem, is a champion of protecting the Jewish people who are underfoot in Israel. Possibly the anti-Semitic. So at this point, Wayne, you know, I don't think.
All right, so stop. That's a very good point. Very good point. It's as clear as a bell. It's as obvious as 2 + 2 = 4. It's as obvious as the sun rises in the east and sets in the west that Donald Trump is a big supporter, a huge supporter of the Jewish people, especially the state of Israel. So if the Democrats will come out and say he's anti-Semitic, what does that tell you about the Democrats? It tells you they're not smart. It tells you they're not honest. It tells you they're willing to say the most god-awful things, regardless of whether there's even a hint of truth in them, just in the hope that you are dumb enough to believe it and vote for them. Well, there are a lot of dumb Americans, I must say that. But think about a party that would make such calamitously stupid statements. Is that a party to which you want to give power?
People take any of this seriously. They just send the hate media and other fake news event.
No, he is not a serious threat to become president. I know about the Democrat nomination. He's running against a bunch of jokes. But Joe Biden himself is a joke, as I've already said. He's run for president twice. The American people said no thank you. So now they are rewarming. This is like having something in your refrigerator for 6 months and then taking it out and rewarming it and hoping it's going to taste like new. Not going to happen.
None of the other Democratic candidates have gotten any traction at all.
Folks, you've been listening to a lot of you have been listening to my show for a long time. This August will be 11 years. My show included the entirety of the Barack Obama presidency, and I'm here to tell you, it got really wearisome. Coming on the air every day and talking about how more people than ever are on welfare and more people are on food stamps and the economy was slowing down and manufacturing was closing down. That really sucked. It brought me down, and I'm a joyful kind of guy. So if Barack Obama could only achieve lackluster results, and in some ways very, very bad results, is that the record that Joe Biden's going to run on? Hi, I'm Joe Biden. 2 different times I ran for president. 2 different times America told me to go take a walk. A long walk on a short pier. Now I'm going to run again. And I'm going to bring back all the bad, lousy, crappy times that you had under Barack Obama. Well, that's not exactly a winning slogan. Joe Biden is a laughingstock. The only reason the Democrats aren't laughing at him is because the other candidates are even more of a laughingstock than he is. But you wait. How are they going to come at Joe Biden? They're going to come at him because he's white and because he's a man. And once the Democrats do that, they will lose even more voters across the country. Joe Biden. He's a joke. We're going to take a break. We're going to come back. We're going to listen to Newt Gingrich talking to Sean Hannity. And some other stuff. If I were you, I would stick around. You're listening to Real Truth and nothing but. Be right back.
Brian, you work about 5G wireless cell tower in your area. We must build your own office. What about power movement? That's what you're talking about. And what are state-of-the-art networks? We are located in 2011. The international agency for classified radio frequency other parts of it, include our planet and now. Take control of your Thank you for that. Number one, may be expecting you in your phone. Call 800-866-970-334-14. We're in 24 hours a day. Do you remember the energy crisis of the 70s? A lot of people panicked. We came up with with your house of brick, aluminum, steel, vinyl, woodblack, or plastic. That's 43 years later, a lot has changed. Still family owned and operated, still develop new methods. You're saving energy, saving that's what inflation founded in 303
All right, guys, we're back. Howard Riell, Real Truth, barreling through the spring, headed towards the summer, and I love it. Newt Gingrich on Sean Hannity last night, I think this was last night, talking about the attempted coup on Donald Trump. And when I say that, you shouldn't go, yeah. A coup d'etat is a big thing. In other countries, coups bring on wars. They bring on firing squads. It's ugly business. And it came from the Democrats. Here's Gingrich and Hannity.
All right, the Democratic primary is off to a pretty rocky start as the two frontrunners, Joe Biden, creepy Uncle Joe, and Bernie Sanders, are facing a little bit of reckoning as questions swirl now about the coveted Obama endorsement. New York Times reporting that Obama had urged, crazy Uncle Joe not to run in 2016. Meanwhile, Senator Bernie Sanders is in some hot water tonight. New documents and footage reviewed by FoxNews.com reveal that he has a history of praising violent socialist revolutionaries and policies such as forced land redistribution, like in Cuba. With reaction, much more. The author of a brand new book just out today. It's on Hannity.com, Amazon.com, bookstores everywhere. It's called Collusion. That's not ripped from the day's headlines.
Oh, sometimes you get lucky.
By the way, if you're in New York or New Jersey, you can be at Ridgewood Bookends at 6 o'clock tomorrow.
6 o'clock
Eastern. Good to see you. How are you? I never see you in the studio much. It was collusion. It was now the New York Times 2.5 years of lying. Now they're saying, it looks like there's probably Russian disinformation. Now Bob Woodward,
Is this going to be wild if it turns out that that entire dossier was a plant by the Russians?
Mr. Speaker, they never verified it, and they used it in 4 FISA applications, and it was a backdoor to all of Trump campaign work.
If you knew Trump was bad, why would you verify it? Because it fit all of your previous beliefs.
See, you're saying it with a smile. That's an attempt. Remember, they leaked it to the Washington Post.
It's a coup d'etat. Trump is right. Trump's language when they interviewed you, or you interviewed him, I guess.
It's sort of he interviews himself.
It's sort of a two-way street. But his comments, which the news media reacted to negatively, as they should, because they're his enemies, this was an attempted coup d'etat. This was an effort by a group of people to undermine the choice of the American people because they had arrogated to themselves that they were morally superior and they had the right to deny us the constitutional system. That's what it was.
I look at it in 3 different phases. Phase 1, Hillary's investigation, we know was rigged.
Right.
Strzok and Page are laughing about it. The Attorney General, it's a matter, it's not an investigation. And then the tarmac, and then, look, they're saying, they're all Democrats. The fix is in.
Right.
They're saying that. Now, the next phase of it is, okay, then the attempt to spy on a campaign to rig an election with their favorite candidate that they got off the hook. Then the aftermath of which is to then undermine a duly elected president and bludgeon him with those Russian lies.
I think that's exactly right, and I think the challenge to the president and to Attorney General Barr is to have the nerve, calmly and methodically, get everything out in the open. Let the American people see how sick the system had gotten.
We know the people are going to have to be held accountable. You can't rig an investigation for your favorite candidate. You can't present to a FISA court one candidate's bought and paid for Russian dossier, not verify it, not tell the court that Hillary paid for it. They knew it. They didn't tell the FISA court.
There was a report out, I think today or yesterday, that 53% of the American people think corruption's a major problem. Well, they're right. This is all a corrupt behavior by a power structure, part of it bureaucratic, part of it news media, part of it politicians and lobbyists, but a power structure that decided it could protect its favorite, it could destroy the person it disliked, and it could do all of it outside the law in a way that is clearly a total violation.
You're a great historian. How did this happen in America?
The system had grown steadily and steadily more corrupt.
Do you?
By the way, that's the biggest burden Joe Biden will carry. He is part of the corrupt system. He's got 2 answers. Either I was in the room and knew it, or nobody would ever tell me. Now, the one answer.
Well, he was in the room.
I think he was in the room. I think he knew it. And I think the fact is that Joe Biden and Barack Obama consciously sought to lie to the American people and to undermine the results of an election.
So you see this cast of characters, many of which are even supporting the new Green Deal. Eliminate the combustion engine, oil and gas, cows.
It's not.
Well, I'm sorry, it's not me. I'm not blaming me.
No, it's not Christmas, and they've rushed up to you with this giant box and said, "Please."
Don't tell anybody. It's our secret. But
that's
2020 candidates are saying they support this.
That's because nobody yet has gone to their districts and said, "Let me explain how really stupid this is."
Well, okay, but you got
100
Democrats and in the Senate and the House that like it. You got presidential candidates that like it. Who do you think is going to? 2 questions. Who's going to win this primary? Who do you think?
The Green New Deal is a tsunami of stupidity, and the Democrats love it. I'll say it again in case you had just nodded off. The Green New Deal is the most monstrously stupid package of policies ever devised by mortal man. And the Democrats love it. They support it. They want to implement it. It's the future, if we're stupid enough to keep voting for Democrats. You guarantee a wounded and bleeding America if you pass anything like the Green New Deal. You guarantee a defenseless America against hordes of millions of third world immigrants sloshing into this country with diseases, with drugs, with crime, with their hands out for welfare. You open Pandora's box and unleash all the evils of the world to flow into America unless you wean yourself off of voting for Democrats. I can't make it any clearer than that. Let's take a break and we'll finish up. More Real Truth ahead.
This is Jake Morgan, Richard Associates LLC. Why we're selling real estate? Call me 720-307-31. Visit my website at coloradoproperties.com. Our office has more than 3 decades of real estate experience. We'll treat you like family. For all your real estate needs, at 720-307-31. Keep listening to KHNC 1360.
No one in America does what we do. Our Health and Nutrition Profile is a free 1-hour interview with one of our counselors. We look at what you eat, what you drink, exercise, medication, work in, food you crave, stress, health, history of your family history. Everything that makes you a unique person. No one is exactly like you. Then we will suggest some food change. Maybe you should add something to your diet. Maybe you should eliminate something from your diet. Then we suggest green herb products to supplement your diet. We usually suggest between 2 and 5 things. 60 capsules cost $17.50, but remember, we're not obligated to purchase 6 things. Call us at 888-765-EARTH. That's 888-765-4372 to set your no obligation.
Join us to discuss the month of Dallas Township, your number one source for independent media. Find out what the mainstream media is. Info World is pro-America, pro-family, pro-freedom. We are legally 776. Exclusive reports, live coverage, information you won't find anywhere else. Tomorrow's news today. Stay informed by listening to KHNC 1360. Dallas Jones, KHNC, the heart of Northern Colorado.
Item from the Hill. Senator Bernie Sanders, independent Vermont, on Monday called on Disney to use profits from its Avengers Endgame record-breaking opening weekend to pay all employees a middle-class wage. Unquote. My friends, if it seems to you like this is preposterously silly, you're right. The tragedy is that Bernie Sanders is absolutely serious. Disney just made a lot of money, but let's take it away from them and give it to other people who don't have any. That's the very definition of communism/socialism. And by the way, when we're done taking Disney's money, well, why don't we take your money also, since you've got more money than other people? In fact, when we find out who's got money, the government's just going to take it away. How's that, folks? Does it sound good to you? Or does it sound like insanity to you? Item from Agence France Presse. France's most famous Nazi hunter, Serge Klarsfeld, on Monday slammed the resurgence of anti-Jewish hate days after a teenage gunman's deadly attack on a synagogue in California. The 83-year-old told AFP in an interview, quote, "There is no safe place on earth right now for Jews," unquote. My friends, it says in the Bible several times, those who bless the Jewish people will be blessed, and those who curse the Jews will be cursed. Item from the Washington Times. Acting Defense Secretary Pat Shanahan has approved the Homeland Security request to assign 320 personnel to babysit illegal immigrants. driving them, feeding them, and checking on their welfare, the Pentagon announced today, unquote. And that's your cue to begin weeping. Instead of dispatching soldiers to the border to secure the border and, if necessary, shoot people who crash through it, we're sending soldiers to be babysitters. Yep, that's the 21st century. Item from MSN.com. A New York man who pleaded guilty to raping a 14-year-old girl will reportedly serve no time in prison. Shane M. Pitch, who once served as a Watertown City School District bus driver, was sentenced last week to 10 years probation. Probation. That means he gets no prison time for raping a 14-year-old girl. Anybody out there have a daughter? What if he had raped your daughter? Yes, your daughter. Would you be happy to see him go with no jail time? Item. From AFP, 26 people died of Ebola in a single day in the Democratic Republic of Congo's North Kivu province, the highest daily toll since its outbreak nearly 9 months ago. Unquote. My friends, that explains why the United States is no longer allowing people from the Democratic Republic of Congo to come into the United States because they got ravaged by Ebola. I'm sorry, what are you saying? Oh, we do allow people from the Republic of Congo to come into the United States. Even though Ebola is out of control, why are we letting them come into America? Don't laugh at me. It's a legitimate question. Item from NBC New York. The vice president of a Jersey Shore amusement park insists that the roller coaster is safe more than a week after 2 test dummies fell out of it and crashed into the roof of a nearby hotel. My friends, I have never liked roller coasters. I urge you strongly not to like roller coasters, not to let your kids go on roller coasters. I don't care how much the people who own them and make money on them tell us that they're safe. I don't go on roller coasters anymore. You want to have a healthy, safe summer? You stay off roller coasters too. I'll be back tomorrow with more real truth, my friends. Hasta luego.